is a member of the MiceChat Podcast Network. MicePod.com. Now, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Warning, this show contains childish adult content and is intended for immature and mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. The views spoken are ours and ours alone, not those of any other blogger. If you're easily offended, we strongly suggest finding another podcast. Everybody neat and pretty, then on with the show.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Let's put on the show.
Growing older is mandatory. Growing up is optional. DisAfterDark, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Bienvenue and willkommen. Welcome to the Mouse's Head on this packed and busy winter evening. I'm Paul.
I'm Nick.
I'm Paul D.
And joining us at our table, the lovely Michelle. Hello, Shell.
Hello there, boys. Nice to see you all.
It's nice to have a feminine touch in the... that was very rude, actually. It's nice to have someone feminine in the pub.
Yeah, just don't expect me to do any dusting while I'm here, love. I'm not in that route at all.
Well, I was hoping you played barmaid, to be honest. But...
One of my many careers was a barmaid, but I'm off duty tonight, thank you.
Fair play.
We've seen the top of your Facebook page, so you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. And when I say the top of your Facebook page, before we introduce ourselves and our beer, where have people come across you from, Michelle?
Oh, gosh. Could have been the Minnie Minxes Disney podcast, which I co-hosted for quite a while with the lovely Kim Goodwin. And due to all the saga of Touring Plans Podcast Network ending and one thing and another, Kim and I decided to end the Minnie Minxes. And I wasn't quite done with podcasting. I think you boys still need to, be shown the ropes by us ladies.
We need a run for our money.
Yeah, definitely do. So, along with a good friend of mine, Jane Phipps, who happens to have been on Minnie Minxes a fair few times, we've started a new podcast called Disney Dream Girls.
Good stuff.
That's what we like to hear. And yes, it's fantastic so far.
Oh, we haven't started properly yet. Wait, give us a couple more weeks and we'll be running after you lads.
You've got the hang of it already. So, gentleman and lady, what are we drinking?
Okay. I'm very mild tonight. I've, for no reason whatsoever, but I'm trying to get into fizzy water. So I've got a Pellegrino. San Pellegrino. Mm.
From the Italy Pavilion at Epcot. Exactly. That's what I thought. Yeah.
You've already got my connection before I have.
Imported from there, you see.
Right out of Via Napoli.
If you make pizzas with that water, it tastes lovely, apparently.
Mm.
Or something.
Pizza is water from the canals of Venice, I think.
Oh, I can imagine that. Complete with bits of Daniel Craig floating in it.
Oh.
Mr. D.
Well, Nick has blazed the trail here, but I'm following in his footsteps, so I've got a bottle of Bankside Chardonnay in honour of Saving Mr. Banks that I went to see this weekend.
Oh, very good.
Cheers.
Okay then, Michelle. You know the drill.
Well, obviously, as you've already mentioned, and it's not that I'm going to keep getting plugs in for my wonderful, fabulous, ebullient podcast at all this evening.
But you've actually managed to use a word like ebullient on our podcast.
I know.
All right, if anyone's got their bingo card and have got ebullience, then they've just dab it now.
I thought that was an African disease.
No, it's not, that's Ebola.
Oh, that's Ebola, sorry.
Is that the thing where you win stuff that's got tickets attached to it?
Yeah, and it
oh
kills
no, that's a tombola, sorry.
And it fits in, the word ebullient fits in with my alter ego of being Snow White, who is my dream girl. And seems my dream girl, her favourite tipple that sent her off to dream about Disney was an apple. I'm going to be drinking a nice Magners cider.
Well, several hours ago, I was in the middle of France and I drove like Billio to get to the pub tonight. And on the way home, I picked up a couple of bottles of Trois Monts, a Flemish ale with 3 mountains on the front. So I figured that's my Splash and Big Thunder and Space.
Very good.
Very good.
Good link.
So it's got some sort of cage around the top of the cork, so it's meant to be quite good.
Well, that's a sign of classiness.
Classiness, a caged beer.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, if they want to get in contact with us, how do they do that?
Well, of course they can. They can come and visit our lovely website at www.disafterdark.com, or they can email us at podcast@disafterdark.com.
Or they can find us lurking on Twitter at DisAfterDark, or Facebook at facebook.com/DisAfterDark, and also on MiceChat.com.
They can indeed, and YouTube and Bebo and Mice. We keep saying that, and I don't actually think we're on Bebo or MySpace, but
No.
and I'm not sure with the new rules that as to what you can actually show on YouTube and all the music and everything will be on there much longer. But...
We're on Bieber though. Yeah, he's actually got our logo tattooed on his back. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, and Shell. You don't mind if I formally call you Shell, because it's easier than Michelle.
Yes,
you can call me that name. That is fine. That is wonderful. As long as you don't start singing Beatles songs at me, then I will get really angry with you.
Why? What's wrong with Paperback Writer?
Paperback Writer is beautiful.
There you go.
I prefer an Onion Writer. But if we're going to start singing songs, I was thinking of Enough's Enough, Fly High Michelle. And
I'm not singing in French for you boys, I'm sorry, I'm not up to that this evening.
I just wonder how much of a Disney podcast has some classic 80s hair metal Enough's Enough fans listening to it. None.
No.
Yes, the question was, how can they get in contact with you, Chef?
Right. Twitter, we are at DisDreamGirls. We can be emailed at info@disneydreamgirls.com. We have, as I speak, the wonderful Mr. Simon Phipps is building up our website this evening, so it might be online by the time I publicise it this evening, and that is the disneydreamgirls.com, and you can search for us on iTunes under disneydreamgirls.com.
Good. And who did all your logos and everything like that? Is that Simon?
It is the wonderfully talented Simon, who just happens to be, married to my co-host Jane, and he has done all the wonderful artwork. He is absolutely outstandingly talented and makes me want to snap all my crayons.
Yeah, I've got a daughter like that. She's much better than that. Okay. Gentlemen. Well, straight on with the show, I feel. If I can find the right button to press, because it's been a long day.
A view of the news with DisAfterDark.
Who's had their eye on Disney news recently? What's been happening? Anyone?
So, yeah.
Well, if no one wants to go first, we're going. No, Paul, go first.
Okay. A little bit of what's coming up in 2014. So there's going to be a new parade for the Magic Kingdom, and it's going to be called the Disney Festival of Fantasy Parade, and that's scheduled for spring 2014, and it's going to be based on the stories from the new Fantasyland on Main Street. So there's going to be Ariel and Friends, new floats with a colourful musical party, Scottish dancers, so that suits me, based on the movie Brave, and then you got Peter Pan and There's going to be some Disney princess, Rapunzel, from Tangled, etc. So, long-awaited new parade for Fantasyland, or for Magic Kingdom.
Why have they never done the 3 o'clock parade?
And just called it the 3 o'clock parade?
Yeah, Disney's 3 o'clock parade. Madame and Monsieur, Sullivan, the 3 p.m. parade. Why not?
Yeah.
It would make it more sensible. That's the name it would be given.
Yeah.
It's like Stitch's Great Escape is just called the Stitch Ride.
Yeah.
Big Thunder Mountain, to anyone, is probably just called the Runaway Train.
Whoa. No, I don't know about that. If my daughter turns around to me at 5 years old or whatever and says that, well, she's going back to Alton Towers.
All right then. How many of you have ever actually referred to Epcot, the golf ball?
Oh yeah, everyone. That's different.
For us, it was apricot. We called it apricot for years.
and you can almost guarantee, and I'm sure we've mentioned it before, that Ratatouille's kitchen calamitous breakdown nightmare knife throwing party is going to be called the Ratatouille ride.
Yeah. I do think sometimes with certain things you should just call it that. I mean, as we pointed out though, saying that, we pointed out that the Snow White ride actually has the most sensible name of any ride like that, in that it's Snow White's Scary Adventure.
Yeah.
So at least that makes sense.
Apart from when you first go on it and you're 42 and you're expecting it to be like the Tower of Terror and it's not.
Hey?
We expect it to be scary and it's not scary.
Well, you've got more nerves than me, madam.
Mm-hmm.
But man is scared.
To be fair, most people do. I mean, I've now pointed out before that I'm quite a lame-o when it comes to certain things. So.
Oh, dear. Yeah. So, Nick, what was your item of news that you found?
Well, it's all been going a bit crazy, hasn't it? I don't know if, I suppose it's been the big thing over the last couple of weeks, but basically, My Magic Plus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all going a bit breaths up, isn't it, really?
One would hope so. But
Yeah.
Yeah, not in the right way.
No, I mean, basically, for those that may not have seen, it's been a very expensive project. We're talking, I think it was something in the region of about £40 million or something. $40 million or something's been invested since the start of this project. And they're now realising it's not really going to do all the things they wanted it to. So it's not really working properly. They're probably not going to roll it out to California because it's a completely different park and it works in a completely different way, and it basically wouldn't actually be a benefit to anyone. And so because they've spent so much money and they know it's kind of a dead duck, they've now turned around and said that a lot of projects that were on the horizon have now been put on hold indefinitely. Now, don't worry, I know everybody's thinking, well, does that mean Avatar Land's been postponed? No, that's still going ahead. I don't think Hell's going to make that one freeze over. But what we are talking about with this is things like Star Wars Land or Star Wars World or whatever it's going to be called. So the main thing that people are worried about now is that has been put on ice. Now, again, don't get me wrong. When I say it's been put on ice, I don't mean like Disney princesses on ice or anything like that. There's not going to be a skating Star Wars spectacular. I just mean nothing's happening with the project so far. So that's what was coming out last week, and it's been put on hold because of that. But it now transpires that, or the rumours coming out of Burbank, is actually the reason why the project's been put on hold is because if they build the attractions now, they'll be based on the 6 films that are currently out. And they'd rather tie it in with the new films that are coming out, which I suppose does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But for the Star Wars fan, you just want something now, don't you? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Over and above anything Avatar could put out.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a shame, but if that's the reason why, I suppose the decision to postpone it does make sense, even though it is frustrating. But, Florida needs some love. Let's be honest. So if they're not going to do that, they've got to think of something else to do. You know, is Cars Lane going to go in a bit quicker? I don't know, but they've got to do something if they're going to postpone Star Wars for another few years.
Yeah. Michelle, have you got any news for us?
Well, I got two, just in case one of mine sort of got pinched. So I'll choose the favourite one, and that's about Joffrey's, their coffee that you get in your rooms at some of the Disney resorts.
Yeah.
Well, there's now 2 Joffrey's coffee stands invading over at Disney's Hollywood Studios,
All right.
where you can go buy your coffee, espresso and pastries. The thing that struck me, because they've brought these 2 kiosks out where you can go get your coffee, etc., slightly a little bit cheaper than Starbucks. You can also buy on Joffrey's website the special Disney Coffee Parks and Resort blends as well. But it's like, well, Joffrey's, Starbucks, 2 coffee franchises. There's surely, you know, there's the one at Magic Kingdom, there's the Epcot one, there's going to be soon the Downtown Disney Starbucks, but now Joffrey's have got 2 stalls at Hollywood Studios. So does that mean studios aren't now going to be getting a Starbucks, or is there going to be a coffee battle in the middle of Hollywood Studios with lightsabers? That's what our Star Wars land is going to be. It's going to be the battle of the coffee companies.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know who's not going to be happy about this. Mr. Star and Mrs. Bucks. That's very interesting. I mean, to be honest, I've been very against the Starbucks influx in the parks anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm quite glad that they've got that instead. And to be honest, if Starbucks had done that, if they'd had like stalls or something in the parks, I wouldn't have minded it so much as taking over actual property. That's what upsets me. So that's quite interesting, though.
So I don't really mind Starbucks, perhaps because the nearest one to me is about 15 miles away. But other than that, I can't actually move for bleeding Costas.
Yeah.
So I'd probably whine a bit if Costa had got there, because I don't see this Starbucks taking over the world thing around here. So...
Well, it's interesting that this Joffrey's company have had a deal with Disney since 1995. And it sort of puzzles me, well, why did Disney then go to Starbucks when they've already had an existing deal with a coffee company? It's just very
the other way around.
bizarre.
I reckon it's the other way around. I think it could well be the fact that, you know, Starbucks have approached them, and, you know, nothing's better than a bit of synergy between 2 big companies. I mean, at least we forget that, you know, back in the day you could get McDonald's French fries in Hollywood Studios.
And in Frontierland.
Yeah. That's something actually that piqued my interest this week. A very small little news story, mind you.
That's all right, 'cause it's tiny.
And what about your news story?
Yeah.
Ka-ching.
That's what she said. So, there's been a new camera deal that's been signed with Disney Worldwide. Because I'm sure some of you have noticed in certain parts of the parks that Kodak is no longer sponsoring different attractions. And the new deal is with Nikon. So Nikon cameras are now going to be all over Disney parks.
Yeah, with the signs that say photo spot.
Yeah.
New pre-show for Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. Good.
Has anyone ever not gone past a photo spot and tried to take a photograph of it and use the "it's a photo spot" joke, but I don't see what's posh about that sign that says photo spot? Or is it just me?
I wish I'd taken more pictures of photo spots.
Yeah. Photo spots of the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. God, that's why has no one done that as a book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a picture of the
Everyone's
sign of photo spots.
It's right up there with
Everyone's
restrooms and trash cans.
Yeah, everyone's obsessed with hidden Mickeys, but what about the photo spots? Where's the love for them?
Yeah, pretty soon it'll be coffee shops of the Magic Kingdom.
Oh dear. Well, I've got a piece because I've been out of the loop for a few days, so I've found a piece of news that really didn't hit the headlines of another injury at Disneyland Paris. And in all seriousness, it's not me just messing around. While we were there was an injury on Le Carrousel du Lancelot.
What?
Yes, some small child was on one of the horses and fell off one of the horses and they put a curtain around it, and it took nearly 20 minutes for the paramedics to get them up and stretch it out before the ride was completely opened again. But my daughter actually watched it happen. And it's any injuries are sad, but when you've got a child that isn't quite big enough to sit on a horse, and you leave them sitting on said horse, and then rumble around in your pocket to find your iPhone to take the photograph, and the kid falls off the horse, it's not the kid's fault.
Or the horse.
Yeah.
No.
Hold on to them. If you're going to take photographs, by all means, have your camera at the ready, but don't just go, you just sit there, because kids fidget.
And also, of course, as well, for those that have seen Saving Mr. Banks, that I reckon that ride's going to be very popular now.
Yeah.
Definitely,
in the
yeah.
parks. Because Emma Thompson's been on it.
I want to go on the horse Emma Thompson went on.
I want to win. I want to win $20.
How do they know which one? I haven't seen the film yet. Do they actually have they marked it?
It was Jingles.
She may have done. It was pretty hot that day. She went on
the horse called Jingles at Disneyland, California, so that's going to be the hot ticket now.
Oh, you realise that the horses are called Jingle, though, don't you?
A fast pass just for the one horse.
Disney marketing boy. All the horses are called Jingle.
And there'll be one in it. There'll be one in every park.
Now, we've done way too much Disney news, I think, for one show.
Over to you, Nick. What have you got for us?
Well, I think now, following on from our last show, if you ignore the Thanksgiving one, please don't ignore it, but, we were talking about Blackfish.
Yep. It's
now been on, so I'm sure a lot of our listeners now have been able to see it. But the fallout continues. So two bits. The first one is American band Bare Naked Ladies, who had a very big hit with 1 week many years ago, have cancelled plans to play at SeaWorld following. We're not sure if it's because they watched the film or just peer pressure from the fans that had seen the film, but either way, it's been hinted that that's the reason why they've cancelled the date. So, that's quite interesting that it is obviously having a knock-on effect in certain ways anyway. But also, they've just announced that there's going to be a 3-month closure of the Shamu show in January. Now, it says it's going to be for, complete rehab and everything like that. But, maybe it is, maybe there's nothing against it at all, but it just seems a little bit weird that, this has all kind of come out the last few weeks, and then all of a sudden the show that's really been at the forefront of all this stuff is being close for refurbishment.
Yeah, the weird thing is, Blackfish has been out for a little while in the States, though. It's only recently been telling in the UK, so...
But at the same time, although it had been out in the theatres, it was actually shown on CNN and broadcast across America about 2 weeks before we saw it. So, yes, you're absolutely right, but I think the fact it's now been on normal TV has probably pushed that a bit more as well.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because having seen it, yes, I'm still reserving judgment on SeaWorld as an entity, because I'm going to, obviously we're travelling 6,500 miles, so I'd like my girls to experience and to see penguins and dolphins, and yes, you can see them in the wild, etc., etc. I understand that, and if I really want to take them whale watching, I could, but I don't really want a 3-year-old on the bow of a whale watching ship when Disney World's around the corner. But I'd be quite happy if there wasn't an orca killer whale show. At SeaWorld. That's is it a feeling righteous thing that I don't know? Just because they're big animals, when the smaller animals may get similar treatment and similar size pools to go into, but I don't know. It feels different. So until someone brings out a manatee-based documentary, or penguins, and Happy Feet wasn't a penguin documentary, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I don't know. I've only ever seen the ending to that film, but that makes me think maybe it was.
So Will I still visit SeaWorld? Well, yeah, it's a day in an alternative park, and there is a degree of education. And Manta's a fantastic ride. So, yeah. But am I happy that there wouldn't be a killer whale show there while I was there? Yeah, take it or leave it.
You won't be dining with Shamu, though, because they've cancelled that as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's on a 3-month hiatus doing I think it was like a up-close presentation on how they train Shamu instead.
Okay.
I've heard actually Shamu's actually going to be doing some community service during that 3-month period. But I've not actually got official confirmations. That may have been just made up.
Yeah. I was going to make a really bad pun about playing with Shamu, but I decided against it.
Yeah, I avoided that too.
Any younger listeners, please close your ears. But Shamu died in 1973.
Yeah, this is the new Shamu.
Well, there's
how
several
many
Shamus,
have
isn't
there
there?
been?
I thought they did have several.
I don't believe there's actually. Again, this is just from the documentary, but I don't believe there actually is a Shamu anymore.
No.
Like officially, I don't think there's a Shamu.
No.
Yeah.
Very, very weird.
It's probably all to do with convincing us that they live for longer than they actually do.
Next, you'll be telling me there's no such thing as Santa.
Why would anyone say anything like that? Weirdo.
That's different.
I'm pretty sure that my daughters don't actually believe in Santa, but they're just playing along because they think that I do. So I could live with that.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's no such thing as Santa. No, look, Dad believes it and he'll buy us presents. Go along with it. Okay. Oh, dear.
And Santa's magic, so there's no limit to the spend here.
Yes, yeah. There is credit limit for Santa. Don't be daft. I want that. Thanks. That it. Has anyone got any more news?
A little bit. Disney Cruise Line 2014. The Magic is coming back to Europe, and it's been refurbished, so it's now got an Aqua Dunk, not an Aqueduct. So it's a smaller or different version of a slide which drops 3 decks. But it's coming back to Europe, and for anybody who's done the Mediterranean cruises, they have been leaving from Barcelona and really down the sort of central med, so south of France, Spain, Italy. But for 2014, for the first time, the Magic is actually going to leave out of Venice and do a Greek cruise. So for those who are interested, that's interesting.
And that'll be a refurbished Magic?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right.
So what is this? So it's got a new water slide.
Yeah, it's from what I've heard of it, it's almost like a drop. I think you stand in it, and the platform drops away, and you drop down 3 decks.
What about ants?
Ants.
Yeah, it drops down 3 decks. What about ants?
Yeah, I think he's just made an ant and deck reference.
I think he has. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I thought all of our American friends were big fans of Ant and Deck and their fabulous work.
Entertainers.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's badly by my
It always reminds me of Love Actually. Thank you, Ant or Deck.
Oh, actually, one bit of news, just in case I forget it for the Christmas show. It's just been confirmed today. They've announced the Christmas schedules for bits and pieces. For anyone on the planet that hasn't seen it, which I'm sure is no one now, Toy Story 3 will be on at Christmas on the BBC. But more importantly, on the 22nd of December, Lady Gaga's Christmas special starring the Muppets. That is officially what it's billed as. Now, I know what you're thinking, but no, Lady Gaga herself isn't actually a Muppet. But it does feature all of your favourites, you know, your Kermits and your Miss Piggies.
I'm looking forward to the irony of seeing Miss Piggy in a bacon dress.
You sure it's starring the Muppets, not wearing the Muppets?
Well, you do wonder, look at the press release. But the official title is Lady Gaga and the Muppets Holiday Spectacular.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's the special see Lady Gaga teaming up with the Muppets for special performances of songs from her latest album, as well as comedy sketches and a sneak peek at the forthcoming film Muppets Most Wanted. So basically, it's the Muppet Show with special guest star Lady Gaga. Surely that's it, isn't it? They just
sounds like it.
Well, there you go. So I'll be tuning into that.
Yeah, me too. To watch the Muppets.
Yeah, all about the other Muppet.
Yeah.
Can't we whiz her on?
That'll do. Yeah. Sky Plus. What? Is that it? Is that the news?
Other TV recorders are available.
Yeah. I haven't even been sponsored by any of them.
And Nick, you got to be careful when you say your bits and pieces, because I think there's another UK podcast host who's got that trademarked.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gotta watch myself before I wreck myself.
Don't do that. Right. It's time for our minute's worth of attraction. Because it's still working and no one's complained about it or has switched off too far. Yeah.
Well, that's a good reason to keep going. Nobody's
going.
complained.
No one's complained yet. We'll keep going with it until someone says, that's rubbish. Stop it. So, for a bit of fun, I'm not going to flip a coin. Who went first last time?
I think it was Paul last time.
All right.
Yeah, I think so.
Which means you're up, Nick. 1 minute. Dinosaur.
Well, Dinosaur's an interesting attraction. It can be found in Disney's Animal Kingdom, and it's kind of based on the 2000 animated feature film Dinosaur, although the storyline is completely different, so I'm not sure how they've come to that conclusion. So you go into a time rover, which is a bit like a Land Rover, or an open-top Jeep, and that's what you go around on, and it's a dark ride, very, very dark actually, and it's very hard to see things as you're going around, but the main attraction is massive dinosaurs, because you've gone back in time, and surely that's not a minute already. That's better. Surely you've seen massive dinosaurs that are all around you. One that's a bit like a T-Rex, but not a T-Rex. I'm not even sure what it is really, but it's big and red and scary. And it's a very interesting ride, because the whole way through you just shook about as if you're like a little ragdoll whilst driving around on a train track. And then right at the end, you come back to modern day by going through a time portal with special effects that really wouldn't have been amiss in the 1970s episode Doctor Who.
I've got no idea what Nick said while that music was on.
It was a bit loud. Okay.
All I could hear was rhubarb, 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 rhubarb.
Oh, so you've found my secret.
Yeah,
But the first 30 seconds were good.
Yeah, I think I noticed T-Rex said twice.
So one was in reference to Mark Bolan.
Right.
One was in reference to a restaurant in downtown Disney.
Yeah.
All right then. Right. Paul D.
Bring on.
1 minute. Expedition Everest. Go.
Expedition Everest. Okay, so this is an attraction which is based in the Animal Kingdom Park. It is a thrill ride. It was opened several years ago. It's a fast pass attraction. It's a roller coaster which is based on climbing Mount Everest. It's got a few surprises. There's two directions. You go forwards and backwards. There's a section where you're in the dark. There's a Yeti which is supposed to be highly animated, but has never really worked right since the day it was put in. So what Disney have done is they've got strobe lights that make it look like it's moving, and that's called B mode. And someday maybe they'll actually fix the damn thing. It's a ride that I really like. You can hear people screaming on Expedition Everest from the other side of the park. The theme's fantastic. It's got a gift shop. You can buy stuff. Yeti's on it. Out of time.
You were starting to struggle towards the end, but I thought
I
you were going
stalled at
really
the
well.
end. I went into B mode at the end. C mode.
Can I just say, there was one thing I would counter with,
Yeah.
which is when you say climbing Everest, would you climb Everest in a train?
Yeah.
But
But the other thing, and actually this goes back to Smith Stone's original point, is when you switch to the opposite 30 seconds with the countdown music, it sounded like Paul went from standing right next to me in the pub, where obviously he is, to actually being in the Costa coffee shop down the road.
That's right.
So for that last 30 seconds, just like he did with me, he couldn't hear a single thing. So I just imagine it was perfect.
Yeah, that
was pretty good.
That would do. Well, we've got a guest with us today. Are you ready?
Michelle.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm hopeless at this.
No,
Did you not hear us?
You're a woman.
That's part of the challenge. Okay. 1 minute on Carly River Rapids. Go.
Carly River Rapids is in the Animal Kingdom. It has the world's longest queue for the shortest ride. It's meant to have lockers as you go in to store your equipment so they don't get wet on the ride, but you can never get your dollar to go into the machine. Once on the ride, you are told to put your feet up and put all your goodies under a plastic bag, and you go on a rotating ride, sort of moving along on the water, and you get dead wet. It's got a theme story along deforestation, which nobody ever looks at, nobody ever gets. You get very, very wet. It's very enjoyable, particularly on an August sunny day. And I can't think of anything else I can think about this ride to say apart from it's a very, very, very long queue and you get wet. And I've got to keep talking till Richard Whiteley keeps on doing his countdown music and listen to the Disney Dreamgirls podcast.
Well, it's an interesting take on it, I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
A nice plug, but I think there's a degree of disqualification has got to go on there.
Yeah, you got wet 3 times, and it was very, very, very wet.
It was wet with Marty Pello.
I believe he's never been on it. That's just a rumour. Just a rumour.
If he has, if you'd like to come on this podcast, talk about it.
Nah, I'd rather not.
I don't know. I that's closely 1 point each on the tie there. So it's completely and totally down to me. But Michelle, who do you think's got it out of those two?
I'd put it as a draw because they were both very good, but I couldn't hear all of it because of the countdown music. So I'm going to be very, very nice and say a draw.
I'm sure we had some sort of plan of what we would do if it was a draw, but I can't be bothered.
Hang on a second. We haven't even got a plan properly for this segment. What do you mean in case there was a deadline?
Yeah. You think we've got a backup plan?
I know the best backup plan is to get the pub singer in to do some Miley Cyrus.
Is he going to twerk?
We could do, I hope not. What we could do, as it's ended up in a draw, is we could throw it out to the public.
Yeah, we could. Although they all listen to it on iPods and don't actually bother answering any of. So yeah.
Well, we only need one.
Yeah. If the one or two of you and you know exactly who you are, write to us or tweet about who won that one. Then
then you have to actually write a handwritten letter and send it to the mouse's head. Since Paul just basically said that.
141. Oh, are you ready, boy? Yes. Sing up.
Yeah. Come on, Paul. You gotta have a lot of fun. Ooh, cuts out every hue, every color. You think the things that we had to run. It's only you, but nothing ever recovered. Another way, another how you friends. And friends outside you're a star. You got to be helpful world. Hit you out for the hole.
I'm sure I've done this one before now, but I just love it.
You got to be simple world. Do it all together and know you can stop at the whole world.
He's going to start twerking any minute now, he promises.
I'll name
Even
that
knowing
song
it's
in
Miley Cyrus doesn't help
2007.
much.
Well, it's Hannah Montana, isn't it?
Radio.
I spoke like I know what I'm talking about.
Weird.
Thank you very much, Pub Singer. We'll leave you there for that one.
Yeah, stop.
Please, just stop. Nick, has anything got your goat up this week? Have you got a goat?
Not anymore.
Okay.
No, we got rather hungry. Yeah, there's a little something.
Oh, right.
And it's only going to be a very small one this week.
Feel free. I've got to find that button there.
It's Soap Dishes Sauce!
Yeah, that bit. You can have quite a long time because we're running short.
I really wish I could, but to be honest, there's not really much to get in my go unless you want me to spend 15 minutes talking about Varnamation. I don't think you want that. So, as you know, dear listeners, I've recently become a father. She's just turned 6 months. That's official. That's not a made-up number that I normally come up with on a weekly basis. This is actually correct age now. She's just become 6 months.
You have wife-based approval.
Yeah, she made me write it down before I come in here to record tonight. And we've now got Disney Junior, which is obviously very good for us, but mainly for Alice. And we've been watching a lot of Mickey Mouse's Clubhouse. Now, because of our trip to Disneyland Paris, she met Mickey Mouse, and now when she sees him, she always beams. She always starts laughing as soon as he appears at the beginning of the episode. So that's lovely to see. But what really grinds my gears about Mickey Mouse's Clubhouse is Pete. Now, Pete is a very long-standing Disney character. Was in the original Mickey Mouse shorts, and has always been a bit of a antagonist to Mickey and friends. And he's the same in this cartoon, although obviously in a much more lighter fashion. But in about the 20-odd episodes I've sat through so far, nearly every time he's in the show, he dresses up. Normally as a woman.
Okay.
Now, I can't seem to understand why. No one seems to know the answer as to why he does it. It just appears that it's the norm. Because at no point does anyone go, Pete, why are you dressed up as a girl? Or in fact, Pete, why are you dressed up at all? I don't get it, and I like Pete, but I don't like Pete dressing up in women's clothing. Eddie Izzard, he's fine dressing up in women's clothing. That's fine. I get that. But this makes no sense to me at all. And frankly, it makes me mad.
Oh, so last week I titled the show something about Colin Farrell cross-dressing.
Yeah. It's definitely a thing. And it's true. I mean, I've sat through so many episodes now. And the other thing as well, and obviously when you're a parent and your child's watching the TV or something like that, you're not always paying attention to what's going on. But with Mickey Mouse's Clubhouse, for those that haven't seen it, every episode, Mickey has to do something, and he gets mouse tools, which are 4 things that will help him get through the episode, right?
Oh, Toodles!
Oh, Toodles! Right? Toodles is great, by the way. Everyone loves Toodles, that's fine. But an episode the other day I was watching, right, one of the items to help him out in this was an elephant in a bathing costume. Right? I'm not describing to you, well, I am describing to you what was on the screen, but that was the actual description of what the mystery object was, or one of the objects was. An elephant in a bathing costume. Now, the thing is, I actually, because Alice fell asleep, I actually also fell asleep watching it, and so didn't know what had happened. And I asked my wife, have you seen this episode? I need to know what the elephant in the bathing suit did, because everything gets used during the episode. Eventually, I managed to track the episode down because it was bugging me that much. And it turned out Donald Duck wanted to get on a big wave on his surfboard. And so the elephant in the bathing costume jumped into the ocean or the pool to create a big wave for him to surf on.
So it was an elephant with its trunks on?
Yeah. He had a bathing suit on. You know. I just don't really get it.
No. Not so much of a rant about cross-dressing, more of a rant about Disney animators. Stop smoking.
or at least pass it around.
Share the wealth so we can all think, oh, that's why you need an elephant in a bathing costume.
Is that Disney Wonder? Is that what it is? It's just code for smoking something else. But Paul, I mean, I mentioned obviously my trip to Disneyland Paris recently. What about yourself?
This is where I go into another mode. Yes, I've just come back from 4 days, 3 nights is what the length of holiday was in Sequoia Lodge, and we got a Golden Forest Leak View room again. And the Golden Forest Club, it's character breakfasts every morning. Just a couple of characters, very good if you get that and go down for it. But this time, I took out the in-laws with us. So it was myself, my wife, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and 2 slightly late generational people. I think is the most politically correct way I can.
Never heard that before, but go on.
We hired we hired an 8-seater to take abroad and drive down with us. So I've done the journey from here across through the Eurotunnel and down through France with. Do you think he's going a bit fast, Montague? In the back, constantly.
Whoa, hang on a second.
Yeah,
hang on just a second.
Just don't ask.
You've got an in-law called Montague.
Oh yes.
Sorry.
I've had.
What's your father-in-law called?
Shane.
So we got down there. We finally arrived about 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Saturday crowds, do not bother with weekends. Do not bother with going into Disneyland Paris at weekends. It's just not worth the effort. They're not geared up for that amount of queuing, I don't think. But we got down there about 3 o'clock, checked into the hotel, emptied the bags out, and thought we'll take a nice stroll into the park and get something to eat. So we strolled down. Not sure what the in-laws were expecting. They wanted to come with us for the girls to see Santa Claus. And a bit of moaning about having to walk that far. So we walked back to the hotel and had a meal in the buffet of the Sequoia Lodge, Hunter's Grill. But it's a buffet, not a grill. We had that very nice buffet. They really do cater very well for gluten-free people. And what we've noticed in the morning, my wife, she has to eat gluten-free. So we've had experiences both good and bad, but one of the best experiences, one of the things people complain about in various forums about Disneyland Paris is
the French.
The breakfasts. Everyone to a penny pretty much scoops up as many croissants as they can manage, puts them into their luggage, and then drags them around the park. And you get other people looking at them as if they're, look at that. But when my wife asked for le pain sans gluten, which is about as much as my O-level French could muster, the waitress brought out a basket, and it was all sealed units. So you've got 2 slices in a wrapper, and she just took, very politely, 2 slices of bread and a couple of crackers and some biscuits ready for breakfast. No, you want more for the day. So they basically emptied this basket of gluten-free food into her bag for her, and it's like, well, we're not taking this. We're being given this, honest. So they were very good for that. But yeah, we've dealt with some elderly people who didn't realise there was as much walking as there was. And I think in 4 days we've managed to... we got on 5 or 6 rides in total, which is slightly disappointing, but 3 of those were in extra magic hour in the park before they arranged to meet us after breakfast. We finally got on Crush's Coaster. We got there at 10 o'clock. Did the Toy Story Mania run over to Crush's Coaster. Got on it, and by the time we got off it, it was 1 hour 50 minutes.
Yeah, sounds about right.
It's like, whoa, in the time it took us to get through the queue on one ride. Yeah, lots of things not working, lots of things bally cold, and with the traditional luck that we get whenever we're out there, every queue we got was held up by someone. Something broke down. Yeah, not a bad trip. I do like Sequoia Lodge as a hotel. That would be the one I'd recommend to everyone. But it's a difficult situation taking the in-laws. So next time we get some slightly more cost-effective travel agent discount tickets, we might take someone a bit more of a Disney fan. If there's any volunteers. So yeah, very interesting. And it's a long old drive. I'm absolutely shafted now.
Yeah.
So yes.
Is that a French one?
Yes, Le Shafted. Trying to think what else. There's a couple of other things. I'm sure they'll come to me when I'm slightly more compos mentis.
Did you see Christmas Dreams?
We did, yes. It's not just a Christmas edition to the Dreams Parade, is it? It's a lot of the characters from Frozen and that snowman, whatever his name is.
Oh, Olaf.
But having not seen the actual film or know anything about it at all, yeah, the girls were just looking at it going, "Who's that?"
Yeah.
So I guess we have to see that. But that's the only additions they've made really for that is a complete change of it.
Yeah.
Not just additions. Quite a special touch. The first morning we walked in on Sunday morning, we got there just after park opening. You can't even call it rope drop because there's no ceremony.
No.
There is no such thing as ceremony there. It's come in. Yeah. Walk down Main Street and the fake snow blows out the top, which is great.
Yeah.
And I've had it happen before now in Florida. I think it seems to ring a bell where they've blown some sort of foam and pretend smoke.
At Christmas they do that.
Yeah, but it's not quite the same in Floridian heat.
No.
Actually, walking down Main Street at 0 degrees on a cold winter's morning with snow blowing at you, you think, oh, how romantic. God, it makes it feel even colder.
Yeah.
So yeah, not bad. Not bad.
And did you meet Father Christmas?
We did indeed. We queued for an hour and a half.
Or Père Noël, of course.
Yeah, we did indeed queue for an hour and a half to get ho-ho-ho'd by Father Christmas.
He's a good guy, though.
He's a good guy. I didn't realise he came from Bristol.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Father Christmas with a very broad Bristolian accent.
He
in France was just bizarre.
He left a long time ago. Like, people still think he lives at the pole, but obviously people knew where he was. So he took some advice from his good friend Nicolas Cage, who of course lives in Bath.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, you want to try Bristol?"
All right.
Yeah.
Or Clifton, just down the road.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
He likes the suspension bridge.
We could go the whole Eisenbud Kingdom Brunel route for no apparent reason, but I think we'll try and keep it as Disney as we can.
So I don't remember any other Disney podcasts talking about Mr. Brunel, but hey.
No, I know some people who went to his university. Anyway, where has this gone? How to bring it back onto queue? With only, I don't know.
You need a bridge to a different segment now.
Yeah.
Hey.
He's done there.
I don't even have a sound effect I can use.
Be pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty derogatory, I think.
I haven't even got one. I haven't set anything up for that one. I don't know.
I think the phrase rhymes with clucking bell.
That'll get us stopped somewhere.
Oh, that always reminds me of Taco Bell.
Oh, where can I get that one? I think the phrase rhymes with Taco Bell. Not quite. Anyway, yes, gentlemen, ladies. Have we got any shout-outs? Because, like I said, I completely neglected to do any kind of running order. So, Stephen Maxwell, hi. He's bound to talk to us on Twitter.
We now just assume that he has.
We have just the 3 listeners.
Emily.
Yeah.
Disney Brit fan. Emily. Hello.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Disney Brit fan. She's also called Emily. That's a proper name.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought you said she was a Disney Brit fan.
No, that's a
It's a
Twitter do thing.
Oh, okay. It's all right, because they never get this far into our podcast.
No.
They gave that way before then. Tom and Mean, of course, who recent guest on the show.
Yeah, Tom.
He's been thereabouts.
Indeed.
Stephen Maxwell is.
Yeah. Oh,
as is tradition.
Everyone knows who they are. So, Brian.
Craig.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you who I'm going to give a special shout out to, Derek Bergen.
There we go.
Derek Bergen, who he gave us a very good compliment the other day. So much so that I gave him my favourite picture of a seal of approval, which the picture I sent over to him is a picture of the singer Seal giving a thumbs up that somebody once got. You do not understand. I found this picture when I was at work one day, and we was trying to outdo each other with different seals of approval. So someone got an actual seal that says approval on it. Someone else got a seal smiling or whatever. But I found the only picture in the world of the singer Seal giving a thumbs up. I was so happy when I found that picture.
Oh, random podcasting.
Yeah. And if anyone wants to see that picture of Seal, you can come and visit our website at www.DisAfterDark.com or email us at podcast@DisAfterDark.com and a free seal of approval picture for anyone that asks for one.
Indeed.
You can also find us on Twitter at DisAfterDark, Facebook.com/DisAfterDark, and MiceChat.com.
YouTube at DisAfterDark Podcast, Instagram, you name it. And Michelle, carry on.
You can find the Disney Dream Girls in iTunes. You can find our website, www.disneydreamgirls.com, and on Twitter at DisDreamGirls.
It's just your voice, actually. Can you just say Disney Dream Girls in a husky voice again for me, please?
Disney Dream Girls.
Yeah, that would do.
Is that all right?
That was lovely.
Yeah, that would be the soundbite. Also, just before we do go, there was one other comment which I completely forgot about. Following on, this is why I'm having to talk over you. Bad, Paul. From Sarah Punset, I believe that's pronounced, who was listening to the Thanksgiving episode, and her husband was walking around the house going, woohoo. Which is, of course, what I made poor Joshua Gillespie do over and over again anytime he mentioned the word said altogether of duck and, of course, tails. And I'm glad it took on, because I really wanted Josh to feel a bit of pain for that, and I'm glad it wasn't all for nothing. So thank you for that.
Just looking at iTunes, though, we have had quite a few recent reviews, so there's a couple of people there we should maybe give a shout out to.
We do promise to. So
yeah. So one is from BCL 1973, and it's a 5-star review. It says, "Tick tick boom. The Disney podcast community will never be the same again. This show is brilliant in capital letters and is only going to get better. Well done, boys."
Are you reading by reverse order from date?
No, not exactly. Yeah, this this one, the pub singer gets a mention. The pub singer made me follow through laughing last night. And actually, the pub singer is actually getting quite a lot of 5-star reviews in his own right. He's become a legend in his own lifetime.
Yeah, indeed. We'll have to put together a downloadable compilation album.
Is there any truth to the rumour that we're changing the podcast name in a year to Disney pub singer after dark.
He only comes out after dark anyway, so it's just a given.
Sounds like it.
Who's on your next podcast then, Michelle?
Myself, Jane Phipps, and Jim Carcass.
That's one of my Disney dream girls.
What, Jim Carcass? He's not a girl.
I believe it's only truth to the rumour that on your next few shows you've got Adam Goodyear, Jazz, and the Malibis.
No.
We're so in trouble now.
Yeah, you are.
It seems like good summons, any?
We love you. Yes. Anyway, right, I've got to find another button. This one. Thank you for joining us. and thank you, dear listener, for the download. And we apologise.
Yeah, we'll get better one week, I promise.
We'll get the hang of it.
Yeah.
See you, folks.
Thanks, everybody.
Growing older is mandatory.
Check
Growing
out
up
the
is
Disney
optional.
Dream Girls.
This After Dark, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Are you pondering what I'm pondering?
Disney Dream Girls?
See you later.